in this video I'm going to be sharing all the trades that I took this week on my 100k FTMO challenge. This is going to be followed by a detailed breakdown of each trade, showing you the exact strategy that I used. Now before we get into it, for complete transparency, let me show you my MT5 terminal. If we press custom dates and select the 3 trading days done so far, you can see that I've made around $3,500, which consists of 2 wins and 1 loss. Now here you can see that this is an FTMO account, and if we look at the current balance, we're sitting around 6k in profit, very close to passing. Now if you take a look at my Discord channel, where I'm sending all the trade ideas in the trade ideas channel over here for all the paid members, you can see on the 13th of April 2026 I've sent out a signal saying I'm buying Euro JPY. So as you can see, this is on the 5-minute time frame where I've taken my entries, taken a clean break and retest setup, seen a lot of consolidation, and then I've placed my stops below these lows, and I'm targeting these highs over here just above the daily range. Now if we click out of it and scroll down, you can see that I said TP hit everyone, and you can see a nice and straightforward clean setup, a nice 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio to end off Monday's trading session. Then we come into the very next day, which is the 14th of April. Again, I was trading Euro JPY, and I've sent out a signal saying I'm buying Euro JPY, and it is more of the same thing, where we've seen some consolidation and retracement in London session, and we're holding this level over here, which is more significant on the higher time frames. And then as you can see, after this consolidation, I've taken these buys with stops just below and targeting those highs over here. But however, in this case, as you can see, stop loss did get hit because of just ranging price action, and this again is just letting the probabilities play out. Sometimes you're going to get price action like this. You're going to get a bunch of consolidation all throughout New York session, and there's not much you can do, and all you can really do is just place your stop loss, place your take profit, and just accept the outcome of the trade. Now finally, if we come on over to the 15th of April, which is going to be a Wednesday, again I've sent, this time I was trading XEUSD, which is gold, and again I was buying all 3 days this week, and you can see this time I was waiting for price action to break through this level of supply and see a push higher up into these Asia range that we have over here. Now I ended up entering, I think this was on a 5-minute, however I've sent the screenshot on the 15-minute because it encapsulates the take profit as well, but this was more of a 5-minute entry. And if we scroll down, you can see as we was approaching TP, we just seen a nice clean push up, and then I've ended up saying closing now for a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward. Now I'm going to go into more detail and break all of these trades down step by step and really go into detail of what exactly I was looking at, but this is just a brief overview of how the trading week went, and we ended up closing this trading week up 3.5 RR. Right, so this analysis on Euro JPY was for the trade that I took on Monday, and it began on the 4-hour time frame, and as you can see, price action is creating higher highs and higher lows, and so our overall bias is bullish. However, if we now zoom into more of the intricacies of the candlesticks, you can see that we had some sort of consolidation, some sort of exhaustion happening over here before we ultimately got this 4-hour close right at the top of this wick over here. And so if you use the volume profile tool as well, you can see that ultimately we're going to have volume sitting right over here. So what this is telling me is that we had a bunch of orders over here, and now it's distributing and pushing to the upside. So that is now adding to my overall bias that I'm bullish, and that's now an additional confluence that I'm going to be looking for buys when we come into New York session. Now dropping down to the 1-hour time frame, if we now look at the structure of the 1-hour time frame, we can see that the market did gap down on Sunday open, and we've then now filled up all of this gap in once we came into Asia. Then we've just got this consolidation and then that break up. So now, having understood that, to look at more of the finer details, we're going to start this analysis on the 30-minute, and we can see that the 30-minute had this overall bearish structure because we've created this push and then this retracement over here. However, as you can see, price failed to create that lower low, and instead we just got this consolidation happening right over here, and so it's telling me that there is a potential that we might get a shift. And then from this point onwards, right over here, we can see that we got this break of structure. So we've gone with this impulse push down, retracement, we've got this consolidation, and now we've broken out of this consolidation from this high point over here. And so it is a nice retesting zone for us to then look for buys higher up into the daily session during New York session. So if I now highlight the exact level that I was interested in, you can see that it's going to be this one over here, and then we should just drag it across. You can see price is respecting this level nicely, and then now we can just start dropping down to the 15-minute time frame and start looking for our entries. So if we can see over here, the 15-minute has given us this nice break and retest, and so we've seen that the 15-minute structure is bullish. So as you can see, I've started off on the 4-hour time frame, then I've gone to the 1 hour, the 30-minute, the 15-minute, and all of the structure is showing me bullish incentive, bullish motive. And so for that reason, we're just correlating all of the time frames, bring them into confluence before we then ultimately look for that trade. So at this point, once we've got this sort of doji candle at 130 close, which is going to be around 145, we've got this close. That's now giving me signs that price is holding this level, and then I can start looking for my entries. So what exactly made me enter right at this candle over here? Well, if we use the volume again, price is always based on volume and where it's going to move to. You can see that now right over here, as you can see that the bullish volume started to overtake the previous few candles stick volumes over here. This showed me that now bullish pressure is coming in at a key level, and so I ended up taking my entry stops below these lows, and I was targeting a 1 to 2 risk to reward, and it went straight into TP. Now the next trade was also taken on Euro JPY, which was the very next day, and this trade was taken around this region over here. As you can see, we're still forming these higher highs and higher lows, so my bias is still bullish. And so I've come down to the 1 hour time frame to look for areas of structure where I can potentially look for these buying opportunities. Now in the 1 hour time frame, we can see that this is a strong level of demand that we're holding. However, since price action is around this region during New York session, I then dropped down to the 30-minute time frame to then look for more areas of structure where I could potentially take these buys and see if price action would hold that level. So if we look over here, price has given us a nice break and retest, and we're going to be holding around this level over here, because if you see, price had some sort of hesitancy around this region before we got this push down. So this shows me that there is some level of support or some level of resistance sitting at this level right over here. So if we mark it out and draw this line across, and then we can also label this as our 30-minute level, you can see that price has respected this level, and we've gotten a bunch of consolidation around this level over here. And then once I saw this nice bullish closure on the 30-minute time frame, I've then gone down to the 15-minute time frame to see how the sessions are looking. As you can see, Tokyo created this range, London's come out and broken above this Tokyo range, and so it's confirming that we are still bullish, and we're going to continue either creating that higher high during New York session, or potentially get a reversal if this level does break. And so what I've ended up doing then further is dropping down to the 5-minute time frame to then look for my entries, because the sessions are looking pretty well. When I came down to the 5-minute time frame, you can see it's just choppy price action, and so I did not feel like the 5-minute would be the best form of entry to be taking. And so when I came back up to this 15-minute time frame, again I used this volume indicator tool to see when the bullish pressure will start to kick in. And if you can see it right over here, this bullish pin bar candle gave me a nice volume engulfing candle, engulfing loads of the previous candles, showing me that there's bullish pressure kicking in. And so naturally I've then gone and placed my entry right over here. Stops were just below these lows around here somewhere, and then I was targeting higher above. However, as you can see, price just consolidated, ended up wicking me up, coming back up, and just doing a bunch of consolidation all till the end of that entire day. So this is where the new day started, and again, as you can see, nothing much really happened. It was just a bunch of consolidation, and so we just ended up taking this for a 1 hour loss. Right, lastly, the last trade I took was on gold, which was on Wednesday, and as you can see, Wednesday was around this region right over here. So if I just box this off for more clarity, so I was looking for a trade during this candle on the 4-hour time frame, which is going to be during New York session. So as you can see, overall the 4-hour time frame is bullish. We've then broken above this substructure as well, and we've come back down to retest it. As you can see, we've got a nice wick rejection from it, and so once I've seen this wick rejection, I've then dropped down to the 1-hour time frame to look for potential structural areas where I can target those buys. So as you can see, price has come, wicked into it. We've then got a doji candle, and we've then seen another push up, and then we've seen another doji candle right over here. So now I've used my volume profile to see where is volume sitting, to really try and depict what price can be doing. And as you can see, volume is sitting right at this level over here, which indicates there is a lot of orders here, and we can either see a push up or a push down. Now my bias is towards the upside, and so I'm waiting, and it's in line with my confidence that we can potentially see a push up from this region over here, because we also have volume sitting there as well. Dropping down to the 30-minute to now refine what area exactly that I'm going to look to take this trade from. You can see that we have this area of supply sitting on the 30-minute time frame. Now this is very important to highlight, because this shows me that price can either break above this level or hold it and push back down. And so I need to be really careful, because we're at a critical zone, at a turning point zone, and anything could really happen. And so I need to make sure that my timing is on point. And so the 15-minute time frame is exactly where I chose to take these entries from. If we zoom in and see why exactly I took these entries, you can see on the 15-minute time frame we're holding this level of supply, and we're seeing wick rejections coming in as well. Again, if I now use this volume profile, you can see this candle over here is where we saw this huge surge of volume coming into the market, just confirming that we will be able to break this level of supply and see a push higher up. Now I did end up entering a bit early, because the volume was already sort of at this level over here before the candle even closed, and so I ended up entering a bit earlier. And again, it was a bit riskier because this candle didn't close, and so we don't know if it's going to close bullish or bearish. However, I was confident that was going to be a bullish close, and so I ended up entering early, getting better entries. Stops were just below these lows, and we ended up closing the trade around this level over here, which was for a 1 to 2.5 RR. And the reason I ended up catching the very top was because if we come to the 5-minute time frame, you can see price action really did start to slow down, which I wasn't a huge fan of, because I wanted to still continue to see this huge push up. And so when it came back up here again, that's when I ended up closing the trade for a nice 2.5 RR and closing the week off with 3.5 R. Other than that, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was informative. It gave you a little insight into my strategy. If you're interested in also catching these trades with me and profiting on a week-to-week basis, make sure to click the first link in the description for more information. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time.